Hello people, this is Power here to review the DX Ultra Z Riser from Ultraman Z. This is I guess, it's the main transformation device for Z, but that's not his... Uh, so, I'm just gonna say this is essentially like the successor towards the G Riser, because obviously we're doing the fusion gimmick again, and this came from the M78 universe, or like the Land of Light. So there's reasons why it's specifically like off of Zet. Because story reasons, I haven't watched Zet yet. I still need to watch Taiga. So here we have the Zet Riser right there. And then our two gimmicks, just like last year. We get the Ultra Access Card Hierarchy version, and then we get our technically main gimmick, the Ultra Metals, and then here we have Ultraman Z Alpha Edge, the DX Ultra Z Riser. So there's Alpha Edge, original form. On the bottom doesn't have anything, and then here is Zet's other form. So including Alpha Edge, we got Beta Smash and Gamma Future. And then the back is just, the basic stuff that we're going to cover. So yeah, that's basically it. Let's dig into it. I'll say that the box design for this series is pretty interesting. Like, it's really basic, but in a good way. So here's the entire package of the Z Riser, or two gimmicks wheel, and the Z Riser itself, which we will take a look at later. We'll just, go from, I guess, least minor to major. Even though to me this is the selling point. The Ultra Access cards. So these are technically the predecessors, or again, these are like successors towards the fusion cards, because this is the third time we're getting a card gimmick, but it's not as enforced. It's just the thing you start with. And also, well, not also, but just the design of the access cards I really like. They're really simplistic. Obviously, we have the user right here hierarchy. And obviously all this is in Japanese. It's not in the M78 language, like the show. So premium Bandai it is. And obviously we get Z here. And then the back, we get the stats for Fusion Fight, which is, I think that's why they did the card thing. So we get the original form of Z and some stats barcode to scan with the machine. And as you can see here, my access card has already gone through a lot of damage. So that just kind of sucks as a whole. And the material is like, it's really like light and such, because if I actually do bring out a fusion card, which I have Orb Origin, right? So it's actually, I want to say, a thicker, or like a thinner piece of cardstock. I can't really tell, if I'm being honest. I want to say, because I compare this with a normal fusion card, just because I actually do have one for my binder. But the fusion cards are definitely the most sturdy, probably. And I wish these were like this, especially because they're meant to be slotted in. But, because if you can tell, this feels a lot sturdier than this. Like, especially because it's already like worn out and such, so I think that kind of sucks. But other than that, I actually do like the access cards. Gosh. Here's a normal fusion card. So they're essentially the same layout, and they're essentially the same. So yeah. So getting to the core gimmick of this series now, the Ultra Metals. They're simple, like, they're really simple gimmicks because they're kind of like poker chip-esque. You get the trans stamps and such. Obviously the backs are red with clear plastic in the front, as you can see here. Here's Ultraman 0, into which the M78 language, it does say Ultraman 0. Really similar towards the Rube crystals, and these are definitely a lot smaller than those. I can like pull them out, but you know, I might as well just leave them like so. Again, they're really simplistic. Like, you know, the image is like on the plastic and it's overlaid with the background, which again, just kind of like Taiga. The background color indicates the LED color. So here we're going to get a blue. Here's 7. So he's going to be a white LED. And then last but not least, we got Leo. And he's going to be a red LED. So, and obviously there's nothing much you can do with these. Some of them you can tell, like, they're kind of loose. Like, you know, I would say this one's like solid, but then 7 for sure, like his cover's kind of loose. But other than that, there's not much to do with these. So let's just move on to the actual thing. So here we are with the main product itself, the Z Riser. I know it's the Ultra Z Riser, but I'm just shortening it to the Z Riser because that's what Hikari. So here we are with the main product itself, the Z Riser. I know it's the Ultra Z Riser, but you know, Hikari named it the Z Riser. It's just Z added the Ultra. Anyways, it's really interesting for sure. Because I actually do like the color scheme of this because it's just a simple like gunmetal base with a translucent blue Z on it, and you know, this section that is essentially nothing because this is where you're going to put the batteries. I do find that to be a weird spot, but I understand why, because this section is where it's going to read everything. This is your LED dome, which I really do like. And I actually didn't know this, but there's obviously another Z on here, and I just like that. This is the handle, and it's a good handle. When I initially got it, I was holding it wrong because you're actually supposed to like, you know, have your knuckles out. I thought they were supposed to just stay in, and because of that, I actually gave my pinky a blister. So that's fun. Obviously, you get this section here is where you're going to swap the metals, and then you can slide it all the way to the right to get these red circles and to get the full look of the Z Riser, which obviously people were making jokes that this was a dual disc, especially because you insert a card and then, like, you know, you can pull cards out and such even though you insert metals, and you can't just push it back. You have to press this to slide it and such, and yeah. And last thing to note is that the speaker is actually located here, which is really interesting because I would have expected it to be in the back or something, but it's actually surprisingly well hidden, so that's neat. For the sound, simply turn it on. You get a white LED up here. I'm going to apologize that I'm not going to showcase this toy well because of how difficult it is to frame it and such. So, before I actually start the initial stuff, when you slide this over, nothing will happen. Although, when you press the trigger, you get 2 slashing sounds because this is a weapon, interestingly enough. And if you hold the button, you just get the same slashing sounds. And then push it back, or fold it back, slide it back. Okay, why did I say that weirdly? So when you initially press the button, when it's closed, you get this standby. And now if you press this, you get that sound. And if we do the same thing, but slide it to the right, we get that same sound. So if you hold it, we get the same air sounds. So yeah. To start off, we need to press this button. And the first thing we're going to do is that we're going to slide the access card within the Z riser, to which you simply slide it within this section. As you can see, that small slot, and you can see the LED, like so. So just take the access card and slide it in. So announce that, and now the LED is like this typical blue. And if we have the access card itself, simply slide this to the right. We get a new standby, and press the trigger. So there we get the transformation of Ultraman Z, which is really neat and such. And after that, when you just press the trigger, you just get slashing sounds. So you fold this back, and to do the finisher, you have to hold this down and simply slide this to the right and press the button. And then there, Zet will announce his finisher, Zetsum Coulson. And that's it. Now, obviously, that's the card by itself, but if we activate this again and use an Ultra Metal by simply sliding it in like so, and scanning it through, it will announce 0, and then if we activate it, so there we get the transformation sound of 0, and the naming scheme is interesting, because obviously it's not just Ultraman 0, it's Ultraman Z 0, because you're still authorized, or you're technically hierarchy, so you're Z, but then you use the 0 metal, so it'll just add the Ultraman that you used. And obviously, finisher process is the same. So there's the wide shot 0, or the wide 0 shot. And then you just simply take off the metal like so. The metals latch on. Gosh, the metals latch on to this like latch and such. And excuse me, if you're wondering about the other two metals, we can put them together. So I'll obviously activate it like so. Now we're going to insert 7 Leo. Shoot him off. It doesn't matter how you insert them, obviously. And activate it. So there we get the combination of 7 and Leo together. Essentially, it's kind of like the orb ring when you put 2 cards together that don't do a fusion. It will just like play their respective sounds. However, it's just with this toy, it just goes up to 3. And for the finisher, so there we get the wide shot and the... I forgot Whale's finisher. I only know the Leo kick. Shooting beam. Yeah. Okay, so obviously those are the sounds individually. I can do 7 Leo individually, but watch the demo. Now we're here for the actual thing, which are the Ultra Fusions, which are what the Z fusions are called, because obviously with the orb there were fusion ups, Geodo's fusion rises, and now we are just to Ultra Fusions. So activate it like so, and then simply insert the metals, and have them thread through like so. And then activate it. So there we get the transformation of Ultraman Z Alpha Edge, which is really neat. And I like how they handled the grunts here, because obviously, I understand they want to, like, this toy wants to try to be different from the Orb Ring and the G Riser from not having, like, you know, the grunts, like, already. So I like how they implemented them within the transformation, and, you know, it's just really neat overall. And obviously, slashing sounds are the same. And last but not least, the finisher. So there we get the finisher for Alpha Edge Zetsu Mazer. And yeah, that's essentially it. So just simply take out the metals and take out the access card. You just simply slide this out. And yeah, that's essentially it with the Z Riser. To which I think it's a like fine package overall. There's not really much to complain about, because I can just see, like, you can point out like the same like nitpicky complaints from Taiga of like no finisher announcements, which just seems like a thing they're trying to do with the Reiwa era stuff. Because that's how I essentially see this. It's like, okay, it's like the G, right? Or like, I feel like it's mostly like the G Riser, but I feel like this is basically a combination of the Orb Ring, the G Riser, and the Taiga Spark. Like sound wise, I will say like Taiga Spark, or like the way like things work. Just because obviously there's no like finisher announcements that aren't Z related. So you're not gonna have like the device like screaming out wide zero shot or like shooting beam. You're just gonna get the sound for it. But then like I'm saying G2 just because like technically because the gimmicks and such, because you know like we had capsules, now we have metals, and then or because of just how much. Oh, Orb and Jeet had the same amount of playability. Or especially because with the Axis card. But overall, I think this is a pretty neat pickup, I'll say. You get, you get the individual sounds for each metal, which is, it's nice seeing that after like 2 years of absence. You get you get an individual sound with the Axis card, and then obviously, you can put all four of them together to make Alpha Edge. Or you can just start pairing the two up, like pairing like 0 and 7 together, 0 and Leo, and 7 and Leo. So you can make 4 combinations and such. But other than that, it's pretty decent. So this is PowerRider, and I'll leave you people. Bye.